is that our site is physically compact, which makes creating distance between people from different households really difficult. So quite a few months ago, actually, back in May, we worked out that the only way that we could really reopen and operate in a COVID secure way was to change our operation from normal self-guided visits to 100% guided visits. So using our staff to guide households around the museum. A human being, a glorious guide, is one of the most flexible forms of interpretation you can have. They can bring all the enthusiasm of being a Roald Dahl fan, talking to the Roald Dahl fans that visit us. So that's how we're meeting that particular challenge. I suppose not so much surprised as relieved that visitors really have wanted to book, because you just don't know. You know, we know that people really love Roald Dahl stories and characters, and we know that the museum before COVID was popular, but none of us really knew how the public's attitude might have shifted. So we're really pleased that people are booking for the tours, particularly Saturdays and Sundays. All the Saturdays and Sundays that we've released so far, which is only about 6 weeks worth, they've all basically sold out, and we're selling guided visits really well on the Thursdays and Fridays. We're operating Thursday through Sunday at the moment. So we're really relieved about that. We've just put in some bits of fun graphic, floor graphics to help show what the route is without it being sort of, you know, you must go this way, you must go that way. We've tried to make it a bit more playful. We've added in a few things, including a few inside jokes to COVID, pointing out that as a very tall man, Roald Dahl's head was socially distanced by 2 meters from his feet. That's my favorite one. So we put a few of these around the site, and that's allowed us also to open up some of our workshop rooms, which aren't designed as galleries, but use them as part of the museum guided visit experience. Really happy. As far as I can tell, they haven't said that they're not. I mean, I think I've got a group of people here, and they really like doing their job, and they want to do something worthwhile, and that means opening the museum to visitors. So the fact that we're now able to do that, we've been open the time we're talking today for 2 weekends so far, has been really good for those involved. But it hasn't been everybody. And we've worked really hard to keep those who are still on furlough engaged, and reminding them that by being on furlough, they're making a real contribution to the museum, because we've been so reliant on those furlough grants. We were so reliant on visitor income in our pre-COVID business model. You know, 70% of income came from visitors, 30% from donations. And the reality of operating with guided visits is that our capacity is maybe 15% of that 70%, and that's just not going to be sustainable. So we're lucky, we're fortunate, we had built up our reserves in theory to fund a capital project, which is now in abeyance. So we haven't been in a complete financial crisis yet, but our financial cliff edge is as steep as anyone's. It just hasn't arrived yet. And it depends how the pandemic plays out over the autumn and the winter and into the spring as to where we end up. And it's not for me to say today, because I genuinely don't know, but I can certainly see a possible future, which is, yeah, is scary. I guess the advice I'd give is what we tried to do in reopening at all, even though, as I say, reopening for us isn't really economically viable. What it is visible. I think it's really, really important for museums to be visible, to show first to themselves, but particularly to stakeholders, to funders, to sector bodies, ultimately all the way up to government, as an example of a museum that's trying to survive. I think that's really important for us. It's given my staff purpose. I mean, we've all been in lockdown and affected by this for so many months, and we're all feeling ragged and worn out in different ways. So giving ourselves a positive, constructive task to welcome what few people we can to the museum. I don't mean to dismiss that with vague praise. It's really important for every single visitor that comes, and it's really important for us every time that we welcome somebody to the museum. So I'm really, really pleased about that. And I think being visible means sharing the positives, showing that you're making an effort, but it also means being realistic about the challenges. So we're asking our visitors to donate the price of extra tickets when they book, because we're telling them why we're in such financial challenge compared to how we were operating pre-COVID. And that isn't going to change in a hurry. So it's important that we keep making that point as calmly, but as seriously as we can. I think visibility, positivity, and reality, those are the things that I'd recommend all museums convey as often as possible to everybody they come into contact with.